Hello, everybody. I am the Pedantic Skeptic, and I am here to criticize people's arguments and grammar so that you have the best way of assessing information. So today, I figured I would take a look at a video by the channel Girl Defined. For people who don't know who Girl Defined are, it's two sisters, Kristen and Bethany, who have a Christian worldview, and they want to use their worldview to teach other people, particularly girls, female identifying individuals, how to be godly women. So I'm going to be responding to their video on whether or not Christian girls should be using the app TikTok. And for those who are unfamiliar with TikTok, TikTok is an app where you basically make short videos that have music in the background, and the music is kind of just intended to emphasize whatever it is you are reacting to. So let's see what they have to say about TikTok.
I'll even pull out dance moves or nothing to write home about. But we love having fun. Your identity is not.
My dance moves,
and you're okay with that. What's up, sister?
I mean, I don't think anybody's identity is tied to their ability to dance.
Good. Welcome back to another Wednesday with us. It's always such a fun time to get together with you. We're talking about something that I have been wanting to talk about for a long time. And I'm pushing for it. We're talking about TikTok.
All right. So I don't know where they're going with this, but I'm fine with people having opinions on TikTok. I know that there are a lot of people who think TikTok is a bunch of trash, and people who approach TikTok as though it's an app where people do a lot of ridiculous stuff. I mean, I'm all for, if you're not doing any harm, then what you're doing is permissible, with very few exceptions. And so I think that there is a lot of good content and a lot of bad content on any social media app, including TikTok. And I think that it's incumbent on the people who are consuming the media like TikTok and any other social media site, to take what they see on that site with a grain of salt, understand that there will be some misinformation, but let's see where they're going here.
Some of you might be really excited about that, and some of you might not be so excited, but it's going to be a good conversation. We're going to talk about the bad, maybe the good, the pros, the cons, everything about it.
And ugly.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
So I think that these two are big proponents of purity culture. And my guess is they're going to go with, hey, look, this is not God honoring because you're showing off body parts and dancing and doing things that are not pure.
Exactly. Well, I was like, I don't know. Is there good? That's what I keep saying.
Ooh, don't give away your opinion too soon.
I've got strong opinions. Okay. We'll dig into that in a second.
It's going to be a fun conversation, but as you guys know, this channel is supported by all of our amazing patrons.
Thank you so much.
We see every single one of you, and as a small token of our thanks, you get free products every single month. So just as an example, if you're like, I keep hearing about this, but what is this all about? Free products like Fighting Fear and Worry, a 7-day prayer journal, downloadable.
No, thank you. I'd rather use that paper for a fire or something.
An entire prayer journal, or how about this one? Battling Sexual Temptation, a biblical tool.
Battling sexual temptation. Go up to your bedroom, lock the door. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, if that's really what you want to do. Fuck.
Free products like Fighting Fear and Worry, a 7-day prayer journal, downloadable, an entire prayer journal, or how about this one? Battling Sexual Temptation, a biblical toolkit for Christian girls, walking you through how to battle against sexual temptation. It's
I mean, I just wanted to quickly say, depending on the branch of Christianity a girl is part of, the response to this temptation that they're worrying about is going to be different. There are very sex-positive Christian sects, and then there are very chastity-pushing sects of Christianity.
amazing download, or the Christian Girls Breakup Survival Guide. I mean, it's literally an entire guide to help you go through a breakup and really get through stronger on the other side, and a lot more. So
I don't know how Christianity specifically helps somebody deal with breaking up with a significant other. Again, if you are dealing with a breakup and decide that a Christian perspective is the best way to deal with it, that's your prerogative. However, I think that everybody needs to be aware that there are other perspectives on some of these life issues, and perhaps go and get as many different perspectives, opinions, and views on it as they possibly can, so that they have as much information to make their own informed decisions.
head on over to patreon.com/girldefined, and whenever you join our team by giving $1 or $2 per video, you will get all of these free products
and more
from the past, plus every single new one that we create every month.
I just stood up to see if Riley was barking at somebody at the door, but nobody's at the door.
That's awesome.
There you go.
That's awesome. Okay, now I want you to pretend like we are having coffee, tea, whatever. Maybe you drink Coke. Maybe you're a Gatorade.
I don't drink Coke. I snort Coke. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to imagine that they're drinking some white wine, maybe a nice Cabernet or a Pinot Noir. Wait, is Pinot Noir a white wine? I'm not a red wine person. I'm a white wine person. Sorry.
Gatorade girl. I don't know. Whatever you are.
Gatorade girl.
Maybe she's playing sports outside. I don't know. Whatever you like to drink, sit down. Pretend we're just having a chat. Like you came over and we're just hanging out. Like, hey, let's talk
Let's pretend that we're having a chat with everybody wearing masks and staying 6 feet apart.
about TikTok. What do you think about it? That's the level of this conversation. In the future, we want to take a that's my deep dive. We want to take a deep dive into this and talk about like, okay, the facts, kind of get some, words from you, some just like, bring in some other professional opinions. Statistics. But for today,
Research.
Are they actually going to bring in facts and statistics?
It's just girl chat. Now, if you are on social media, you probably know what TikTok is. And I have just been hearing a lot of different opinions about it lately. And so I really do want to talk about it because I think we as Christian girls specifically, we're battling all the time to keep our eyes on Jesus. We're battling to remember that our worth and our identity is not bound up in the way we look or what other people think of us. We're always battling.
I mean, TikTok doesn't have to detract from any of that. There's Christian TikTok where people are like singing and dancing about Jesus.
Battling to remember, okay, no, God gives me my worth. I have worth and value because he says I'm his redeemed daughter. It's so hard to remember that our worth is not in our size, And so my big pet peeve with TikTok is that I feel like when you get on there, there's just this flood of information and video.
That's going to happen no matter what website. I mean, you guys are on YouTube. You get this stuff from YouTube.
And images coming at you that kind of are a huge temptation to pull you against who God says you are, what you're living for, where your identity is found.
I mean, if you have directly been told by God who you are and what your identity is, then I'd like you to demonstrate that. But also, you don't know that other people are in that same boat.
And I feel like it's almost like we're working against ourselves and making this battle in life so much more difficult. So that's my big pet peeve with it.
Yeah, I think that's a super valid point. And the truth is, every social media has its pitfall, right? So it's not like TikTok is the only one that has problems. Every single.
So why don't you make a video that is encompassing of all social media rather than picking on TikTok? I mean, I still don't see why TikTok is any worse than any of these other social media sites. I think TikTok has its place, and I think that there is good in TikTok, but just like every social media site, you can get too wrapped up in social media. And my perspective on it is twofold. One, there's the losing touch with reality because you're on social media so much, and that's unhealthy for a few reasons, because people don't always post, people post things that are snapshots of their life. And there are all sorts of blogs and accounts on any kind of social media where the only thing somebody posts are the highlights of their life, the really good things. Now, if that's all you're seeing on social media, you may have unrealistic unrealistic expectations about what's supposed to be going on in your life, and you might feel down because all you're seeing is everybody else, succeeding, making leaps and bounds, X, Y, and Z, and you're not seeing all the failures that that person is encountering. Or you can have the opposite problem where you follow some of those dark depression accounts that I don't recommend people follow, and that generally violate one term of use or another on that social media site. But there are a lot of really bad types of accounts like pro-ana accounts and depression blogs and a number of things where it's all really gloomy stuff. And I'm not saying that there aren't people who are in really dark places and where that is representative of their life, but you can subconsciously internalize that and expect nothing positive to come from your life, and that can harm you in the long term. Social media is bad in the sense that it gives you an unrealistic view of what your life is supposed to be, and it can set you up to suspect that your life needs to follow a particular format when we're all different. The other problem is you can become addicted to the action of like having a phone and constantly checking social media and having your eyes glued to the screen, and that can interfere with a lot of things. And I try not to do those sorts of things. I try to go, I took a hike out in the woods behind my house just an hour ago, and I collected some wood rot fungi and a few mushrooms for an orchid experiment and things like that. So I have some concerns, but these concerns don't come from a Christian perspective. I feel like a lot of times when there are concerns that come from a religious perspective, they're not really valid concerns, and we lose sight of what the actual problem with a particular app is.
Single one has problems, so we need to be wise with anything. Obviously, we're on social media, and it can be used as an amazing tool, but I would say not every single platform has equal opportunity for...
I hope you're going to elaborate on that.
Kind of pulling you in the wrong direction. I mean, they do, but some pull you a lot harder, a lot faster, and are designed.
Do you have any way of quantifying this? Now, I want to put out a disclaimer. Anything where you're studying social media habits and how humans are interacting with one another will be more of a soft science. You can't necessarily measure, you can measure the length of time you spend on a phone, on social media. But, if I spend an hour on Instagram, for example, today, it's going to be a lot different in a number of ways than if I spend an hour on Instagram tomorrow. I'm going to see different content. I'm going to be in a different mood. I'm going to read different captions. I'm going to get different DMs. And so that 1 hour can be really different. There's not a hard way of measuring the effect of a social interaction on a human, but I would like some sort of data if they're going to say, oh, some social media sites have more of a negative impact than others. Have there been studies on this?
To be intentionally highly addicting. And certain platforms appeal to certain audiences. So you don't find a lot of teen girls on Twitter, for example.
Yeah, I know, that's true.
You find a lot of politics, business, like maybe the older generation.
Well, Twitter has turned into that. When I was in high school, Twitter was what Yik Yak became, where you go on Twitter and you tweet silly little things, maybe some gossip, maybe just some stupid meme or joke or something. And since Trump took office, we've seen Twitter become more political. There's also a huge science following on Twitter. One of my thesis committee members, the oldest person in my thesis committee, actually uses Twitter and uses a few photo sharing sites, but no other form of social media. There is a huge scientific following on Twitter.
We've surveyed you. We have surveyed you, and you have said,
I would actually like to see their survey and their survey results. I mean, I feel like if they want to be really concise about their point and drive it home, they really should have good sound methods that they're willing to display. And I hope they see this video. I hope Girl Defined sees this and takes my advice. If you put a survey up, you really should, well, one, you should look into how actual scientific and sociological surveys are conducted on humans. 2, display what your survey was, and 3, have a way of analyzing and displaying the results of that survey. That would be the best way to prove your point.
Care about Twitter, and we really don't even care about Facebook. Y'all have said, like, we're not on there.
Yeah, so every platform has its pitfalls, but
Yeah.
they appeal to different demographics, different audiences, different age groups for a reason. And TikTok is one of those that is intentionally designed to be highly addictive. It appeals to young people, which is why so many young people are on it. And so
This still has nothing to do with Christianity.
just talking about that platform specifically, I think there are a lot of dangers in how it works. And to be honest, that's one of the reasons why we've chosen as Girl Defined Ministries to not get TikTok, to not have that platform for ourselves, and to not be a place where we're saying, come on over on TikTok and hang out with us, because we truly see a lot of problems with it.
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to think of like a scale. Okay. Like the kind of like the pros and cons, what outweighs what? So if you think of the pros, you might think like, oh, well, I get to connect with some friends there, or I get to be connected to these really cool influencers or celebrities and get to see some really fun stuff that's going on. But then think about the cons. What else is happening on there? And so I want you to think about your own life. Where is an area where you are personally struggling? Is it with your, like, you're struggling to accept maybe your height or your weight or your size? Maybe you're struggling with an eating disorder, or you're struggling just feeling like
Like I said, you can get negative content in those regards on any social media site. Actually, give me a second. Let's go to Google, my friends. Now, just a quick disclaimer, what I'm about to look up doesn't encompass all disordered eating behaviors. There generally aren't pro binge eating accounts or anything like that. Let me just see. I know pro Anna stuff is banned from like Instagram, Facebook, things like that. I don't know about TikTok. Uh-oh. Okay, so let's see. Oh, great. They do so let's see so it does seem like TikTok does have an issue with keeping pro Anna stuff on TikTok. Okay. I don't think Christianity is the answer to this. But that's good to know. I'm glad that Girl Defined is concerned about this being on TikTok. I don't think you have to be a Christian to be concerned about this. And I don't think a concern about this sort of thing comes from a religion where gluttony is a sin, and where in some traditions, fasting is a huge part of the religious practice. I mean, like, there's a thing in the Bible where Jesus goes like 40 days without eating in the desert or some shit like that. Like, I don't know how much more pro Anna you can be.
I'm not popular enough. Like, nobody would ever watch my video, or I can't dance like that. Whatever it is, when you get on TikTok, does that help you in that struggle? Does that help you like battle it and keep your eyes on Christ?
Well, I don't think Jesus is going to help you with that struggle either. There are a lot of harmful effects of having a religious-based therapy for any of these mental disorders. There have been people who feel like they can't truly recover unless they accept Jesus, and for some reason they can't accept Jesus, and it's toxic to make people believe that they have to believe a certain thing about the supernatural in order to be healthy mentally.
And focus on him and embrace your worth in Christ? Or does that only fuel the struggle and make you struggle in a deeper, more difficult way? When you lay in bed at night and maybe you're just scrolling on TikTok, What is it doing to you? Is it helping you or is it hurting you?
I mean, I do want to take a minute here to break this down, because I don't think TikTok alone or any social media alone is enough to trigger somebody to develop a serious mental disorder. However, the very act of spending too much time on any social media platform, especially if it's isolating you, is going to cause difficulties in finding yourself, recovering, things like that. And I don't think it's specific to TikTok. I don't, I mean, I could see an argument being made that TikTok does it to a higher degree than other social media sites. I could also see that if you are struggling in your finding content that reinforces your struggle, it's going to cause a greater degree of harm than if you're just so there's going to be a baseline level of harm where, spending too much time on a screen causes a certain level of harm. And there will be a difference if you're looking at kitten and puppy videos versus looking at pro Anna blogs or something like that. Yes, I'm not disputing that. But they should be quantifying the differences in those harms. And I got to ask, why is it that looking at Christian content is any better for your well-being than, I don't know, looking at a video of a couple of ducklings swimming around a pond, or a puppy video or something like that? Maybe going and watching people's reptile vlogs or whatever you want to watch.
And this is something that you have to be very personally honest about. I can't tell you like this is hurting you. You have to sit there and say, is this helping me? Is this drawing my eyes on Christ? Is this helping me to reflect him and glorify him and use my body to serve and to live for him? Is TikTok helping me do that truly, honestly, in the gut of your soul, whatever, like in the depths of your soul? Is it helping?
I feel like they're more concerned about a person being a good, faithful Christian than they are about a person being at peace with themselves or being a good person in general. Because operationally speaking, the only thing that makes you a good Christian is your adherence to the belief system and how strongly you hold the views espoused by the religion. It has nothing to do with how charitable you are. We have a society that associates, if you're charitable in any way, you must be a Christian. But technically, that's not what Christianity is. Christianity is just the belief in, a God and the fall and Jesus and everything associated with that. Maybe some of the teachings of Jesus. But there are perfectly secular people who are able to do perfectly good things in society.
Helping you do that, or is it pulling you away and causing you to struggle, or a temptation to cause you to struggle in greater ways? I wish we could take like a 60-second pause, to really evaluate and ask yourself, what is it honestly doing to you?
Right. Yeah. And when you ask those questions, I think another area like the beauty, the success, the fame, like all the temptations to really, in so many ways, like those can be good gifts, but often it's like a worldly way that we're tempted to pursue those things, not the way God designed us to like embrace our identity.
I mean, didn't God create the world? I don't understand how on one hand you believe that everything was created by God for us, and then you believe that we're not supposed to be using what God has given us. I mean, why would a God give us the ability to create TikTok in the first place if we're not supposed to be using TikTok?
Embrace our beauty. But I think a huge thing that I've heard from young women who are on TikTok is that it is so sexually provocative, right? From like the youngest girl.
Give me a sec. All right. TikTok does not tolerate activities that perpetuate abuse, harm, endangerment, or exploitation. Any content, including animation or digitally manipulated media that depicts abuse, exploitation, or nudity of minors is a violation and will be removed. I don't know. Let me see nudity. TikTok does not allow nudity, pornography, or sexually explicit content on the platform. Okay. So you're not allowed to do anything sexually subversive on TikTok in the first place. And I know there's a line where there's stuff that's provocative in a more acceptable way, like sexy music in the background and you're moving slowly, or something like that, where that's different than having half your clothes off and feeling yourself in a sexual way. There are platforms for those sorts of videos, but we're humans, and I think to some degree there has to be tolerance for slightly suggestive material as long as it's not involving minors and it's not non-consensual or anything like that. But I don't think that explicitly sexual material is on TikTok all that often.
Girls doing these really like sexual dances, like little challenges that are very sexualized, and just even asking.
Yes, the Tide Pod challenge is very sexualized. Please don't eat Tide Pods.
Yourself from a standpoint of purity as a daughter of the Lord, like he's calling you toward holiness. No, he's calling you to take your thoughts.
All right, real quick. Posting sexually inappropriate content on an inappropriate platform such as TikTok is bad, not because it's a violation of God's rule. It's bad because it's a violation of civil decency. And when people go onto a platform such as TikTok, they have an expectation of seeing a particular type of content. If you want to see sexually explicit content, you go onto Pornhub or, maybe a more ethical porn producing website or OnlyFans or something like that. If you go onto TikTok, you don't expect sexually explicit material. And part of that is because TikTok doesn't have as many blockers preventing minors from getting on the site. And, you have to be 18-year-old to use OnlyFans, for example. But it causes harm in the sense that it exposes people to content they may not want to see. This is why these sites have rules against what kinds of content they are going to be allowing, because there is a reasonable expectation when you're using a particular social media site that you are going to get a certain type of content. And I'm not saying that there are no rule breakers, and I'm not saying that you don't risk seeing something you don't want to see. But the reason why, like Instagram and TikTok and several other social media sites don't allow, hate speech, pro-ana stuff, pornographic content, is because they are a site intended for a broader audience to have a little bit more dictatorship over what they're seeing. And so, we can get into a debate if we want to about whether or not there should be like an 18 plus section of Instagram. Like, we have not safe for work Reddit and we have not safe for work Twitter, where there are some additional kind of blocks to prevent children from accessing that material. But, TikTok has a specific purpose. And, I'm not saying that the intention of TikTok and, what TikTok was made for is what it's used for. But the reason why some content is not allowed on this site is because it is so far astray from the intended use of that site. And the site caters to more vulnerable audiences than a more specialized site. And it's completely within the rights of the people who made TikTok to ban certain content. And that's one of the reasons they do it. They can ban, pornographic content. They can ban hate speech. They can ban, a number of things that they don't want people using their service to be exposed to. If you personally want to go and find porn or hate speech or pro-Anna content. You can find it on the internet, but you'll find it on websites that are more specialized to that rather than on a generic social media site that people use to connect with one another and maybe broaden their horizons and things like that. Now, that being said, I am a little bothered by some of the generality. You have a number of different accounts on social media where people are doing a number of different things rather than having a separate social media site for every one of their interests. And there's good and bad to it. But I don't think an analysis from a purely Christian perspective is necessarily the best or only way of looking at this matter.
That's captive, to create in you a clean heart, like the Psalms say, and to really evaluate as you're on TikTok scrolling. I mean, I know it's addicting. I know you can spend hours and hours. Yeah. Like I've heard of, like any.
They're finally making a decent argument against using TikTok or any social media site. I too have serious concerns about internet addiction and people spending way too much time on social media. As I've said before, you have to worry about, are people getting unrealistic expectations about what they're supposed to be doing, how their life is supposed to be going, and are they disconnecting from the real world because all they're doing is spending time on social media? These are valid concerns. Again, I don't think it's a strictly Christian issue, and I don't think you have to be a Christian to be concerned about these things.
Many of us, you can just find yourself 3 a.m. in the morning and you're still scrolling going, what am I doing? But as you're seeing...
Well, yes, that is kind of bad. There's a difference between, hey, I can't sleep and it's 3 a.m. Let me, just look at some stuff on social media because maybe I'm physically tired, so I don't want to go take a hike or walk around or anything like that. But I need to occupy my mind while I'm awake for right now, so I'm going to watch a video or just, scroll through some social media or some website for, a half hour. Maybe my phone has the blue light filter on so that I can still feel tired and not have the blue light activating the receptors in the back of my brain that make me alert and active and things like that. And, it occupies me until I clock out again. There's a difference between, that happening once or twice a week or a month and every single night for the past year, I have been, taking my phone and scrolling through social media for, 8 hours after bedtime, and I'm not getting any sleep. And then I wake up and I just drink an energy drink because I haven't slept for 6 days in a row. That's unhealthy, and we know that it's unhealthy, and it doesn't take a Christian to know that it's unhealthy.
All of those images and videos, I guess, mainly, and so many of them are so sexually provocative, really asking yourself, like, is this pushing me toward...
All right, so why don't we take a look at a couple of TikTok videos that appear on my feed, and please tell me if any of these are sexually provocative.
What's up, girl? How you been? I'm good. I've just been manifesting so much. Oh, okay. How does that work? I'm just manifesting, burning some sage and doing some voodoo on the side. That's a close practice. I'm on a spiritual journey. I'm on a higher plane. You are not a shaman because you spent your K-hole in a Nissan Leaf. I've seen things, okay? I've been to the spirit realm. You are not a priestess because you vaped DMT outside of Trader Joe's. Yeah, well, I went to Tulum last year. But that doesn't make you Frida Kahlo. Yeah, well, one time I...
Janice. Janice. Say hi.
Okay.
Janice.
Brian Sussman, live reporter. Excuse me, sir. Do you have anything to say? And that's all.
Gucci, Prada, Louis, на мне только Фэнди ходит. Понятый из улиц, перестань липнуть, я не улик. Катим,
Damascus Hercules.
What's in my coffee? Hey, what's in my coffee?
And I'm telling you, Bob, with a body like that, a face like that.
I think you get the point now. I hope nobody actually finds that provocative. I mean, maybe the blue tongue skink putting a tube-shaped thing in their mouth, but like, come on. I mean, I'm sure if you really looked, you could find provocative stuff on TikTok. But what I'm trying to say here is that you can also find a great deal of random nonsense on TikTok, and it's healthy to indulge a little bit in silly, mindless, stupid shit because it gives you a little bit of release and it gives you a little bit of relaxation, especially when one of the things that I have a hard time with is I constantly need to be stimulated, mentally speaking, and there's got to always be something going on in my brain, and sometimes I'm too tired to cognitively function through something highly intellectual. So if I watch a silly cartoon or, play a puzzle game or something, it's cathartic.
Christ, toward holiness, toward purity, or is this making that battle so much harder? And I think it probably is making it so much harder.
So we really want the best for you.
Yeah.
We're not trying to.
There is Christian TikTok, again, as I said. I'm not going to pull it up and show it just because, actually.
You wanna go, I can take you there. All these dreams, put some faith in me. When I hear that devil start talking to me, saying, who do you think you are? I say,
I can leave a body without ever letting you know. Without ever letting you know. All you love, all you just know. All you that's a no, no. That's a no, no. That's a no, no. That's a no, no. That's a no.
Yeah. Now, I know what you're thinking. Maybe that doesn't honor Christ in the way that you personally would. But what you got to remember is that there are so many different Christian denominations out there with so many different views and ideals about what it actually means to be a Christian. You get into this problem of, well, who's correct?
You say, like, have a miserable life. Don't do anything fun. We love having fun. We love having a great time. I'll even pull out a few dance moves. They're nothing to write home about. But, we love having fun. We love listening to music.
Your identity
I doubt that.
is not in your dance moves.
It's not in my dance moves.
And you're okay with that.
I can make a joyful noise to the Lord, But I want you to know, we want you to have like a fun time. God gave us emotions and we can feel those wonderful emotions of just joy and gladness and happiness and all of that. But we want you to stop and consider, is that fueling God's best for you? Is that fueling you?
That really depends on your views on what God's best for you and even what God are.
To keep your eyes on Christ. So we just want you to take a minute after this video ends to really stop and evaluate. Is this helping me? Is this helping me creating me a clean heart? Is this helping me push me towards purity?
Is your religious ideal helping somebody be the best person they can be? Why don't you ever ask that?
helping me, you know, think of guys in a more pure and honoring way? Is this helping me to want to use my body in a way that's honoring to God, or more really sexually suggestive and trying to...
I mean, there were pagan gods and goddesses that were all about fertility and doing everything you could to express yourself sexually.
Get attention because of that. So there are a million things we could discuss, but this is, like we said, this is just a sisterly chat, just a kind of like casual conversation, slow down, what's actually going on. And I want to encourage you to know that there are other girls, young women who are not on TikTok. So if you decide like, hey, I think I should delete this, maybe I should just take a break, or maybe I should delete this, know that you are not alone. We personally know dozens of girls who are not on TikTok and they have amazing lives and they are not missing out. Sometimes you just need that person to tell you, okay, pull the plug on TikTok, whatever it is, delete the app. You're going to be okay. And honestly, I think...
I mean, I am all for people not relying excessively on social media in order to get validation, in order to get their source of social interaction.
When you do that, I think you're going to realize, oh my goodness, I have been like in a fog. I have been living in this alter world that is just crazy. Sometimes you just need to get rid of it for a minute to see the light. So I want to encourage you, whether you just take a week off or you decide to completely delete the app altogether, I would encourage you to take a little break from it and see how it goes. Head on over to Instagram @GirlDefined. Leave a comment.
I'm not going onto your Instagram and taking a look. All right. So let me stop the screen share. Okay. So that's Girl Define's take on TikTok. Overall, I think that they have some good points about TikTok and other social media being harmful. I don't think that they're correct about why it's harmful in some respects. I think that if they really want to help people, need to focus a lot on some of the health ramifications of excessive media use, technology, social media, things like that. But I honestly would say that they should be bringing forth more data. They should be conducting sound methodologies. If they're getting information about, why this is a problem, we could go right now if we really wanted to. Actually, let me do this. All right, so why don't we go right now? Because you know how much I like fact checking and making sure that I have the best information available at my disposal. Not responding. Okay. We're going to go to Google Scholar. And then we're going to say effects of, look at that, effects of social media. The effects of social media in college, welfare effects, concern about harms such as addiction, depression, and political polarization. Is this a review paper? Let's see. Why don't I just take a quick look at this review paper? I think it's a review paper. Well, actually, only 8 pages. Okay, abstract. Social media is a platform public. Before knowing the actual aspects, social media is a term used to describe the interaction between groups in which they produce, share, and exchange ideas, images, videos, and much more over the internet and virtual communities. Children are growing up surrounded by mobile devices that interact with social networking. All right. Oh, it is a literature review, although we study various social networking sites. Let me just take a look here. Okay, positive effects, sharing of doctors' prescriptions to friends. You're not supposed to share prescriptions with one another. Consulting doctors online anywhere and anytime. Yeah. One of the good things about social media is you're no longer constrained with the people that are, within your town for communication. You can communicate with people, like if you have a really obscure interest and nobody else in your living space has that interest, you can get a lot out of social media where you're going to find a whole bunch of people who have the same interest. Although this is health related stuff, socializing, negative effects. Yeah, I'd say connectivity is definitely one of the biggest. Here's a study on the effect of social media on the academic performance of college students. Let's just take a quick look at that. Okay, academic use of social media did not predict GPA. Okay. Video gaming and social media multitasking negatively predicted. So there's a negative correlation between video game use, the multitasking, and social media and your GPA. The other thing I want to quickly look up is genetic addiction. Here's a 1998 paper when the internet just started to become a thing. So, it doesn't show in the article. Here's the 2011 paper, or a review. How about we look at this review paper real quickly? Review papers are really handy if you're not quite familiar with a subject area. And the reason they're handy is because somebody who is familiar with that study area has already gone through all of the literature, well, all of the current and relevant literature in that particular, on that particular topic, in that particular subfield, where they've compiled the relevant information. Like you can write a paper, you run an experiment, and that can tell you so much, but once that experiment is put into a review paper with 10 other experiments that aren't related to what you've done, you have a better picture of what's actually going on. Research indicates maladaptive patterns of internet use constitute behavioral addiction. This article explores research on the social effects. There are 4 major sections. First is for definitions, terminology. That's good. That's something you want. Second, reviews research findings. That's the purpose of a review paper. The third considers the addictive potential. And the fourth addresses current and projected treatments of this. And then you can see they have all of these different papers that they cited for this. So yeah, it is a big concern if you're using any social media excessively. So I think in summation, I would say that Girl Defined has missed some very serious key points because they're so focused on their own beliefs and agendas. And, you can arrive at the right conclusion for the wrong reasons. And I think that they are not taking a holistic, healthy view of the app. They're taking we have to keep everybody pure and adherent view. And the problem with that is they may be correct now on this particular topic for this particular instance, but they could also use the same methodology to arrive at, you need to avoid other things that are actually healthy for you. I'm not saying TikTok is always unhealthy for you. there's a way to use TikTok in a healthy manner, and there's a way to use TikTok in an unhealthy manner. And they cautioning you about this particular app for their particular reasons makes me concerned that they're going to apply this reasoning to a number of other things people utilize, and their concern is mostly going to be how it affects your purity rather than how it affects your well-being. So that's my major concern there. So thank you for watching. I have been pedantic, aromantic, and adjacent to the Atlantic. Have a good one.